starting be'ez Hashem siman kuf mem ches and vayol Moshe, and we're talking about the reasons why gadolim and tzaddikim in our generation have made a mistake and supported Zionism. So far, the Rebbe gave 3 reasons. One reason was the Yitzhahar of our time is kfir and Zionism, and that's like the Yitzhahar of Avodah Zarah and Bayis Rishon. Second reason was the bribe, the shoichad, the pressure of the generation blinds their eyes and has an influence on them. And the third reason is because shluch shalom k'moisoi, and when someone is representing somebody else, he gets that tchuna, that nature of that person, like the meraglim, like Shaul. Now, he's going to say another reason, that the influence of a generation that's full of chutzpah and the erev rav has an influence on everybody who lives in that generation. So take a look. The Amru Chazal b'Sanhedrin daf kuf hey amud aleph. Chutzpah malchusa beloy taga. Chutzpah is a form of power or government without the crown. It doesn't have a real government, but it's something that's powerful. Upirish Rashi zal srara gadoly. It's a great level of chiefhood of power, of political power, but the eino chaster ela kester malchus. It's only missing that crown. Im kain, so if so, amru zal shekoyach hachutzpah hu kekoyach malchus she'eino chaster ela hakester. Koyach of chutzpah, the power of having this audacity, is something that is just missing the crown. It's missing the
comparison.
Okay, so looking in here inside Sanhedrin Kuf Hey Amud Aleph, it says, Omer Rav Sheshes Chutzpah Malchusa B'Loi Tagahi Dichsiv V'Anoichi Hayoim Rachu Meshuach Melech. That this, after the killing of Avner by Yoav, David Melech said, I am today just freshly anointed as king. These sons of Tzuria, the Yoav ben Tzuria, his general, is more strong and more tough than me. So, and David blamed him for the death of Avner. So, in other words,
did Yoav murder Avner?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rashi says, "Kloimer eini gadol mehem ela meshichas malchus." I'm only greater than them in the fact that I'm anointed as king. But they're like the malchus without the crown. They're the ones who are not
strong, but they're not appointed kings.
They're running the show, even though I'm officially the king. That's what David said about them. In other words, he's complaining. He's saying, it's not you're not supposed to be your decision, but because of your chutzpah, that you're sticking your head into my business and killing Avner, you're running the show instead of me. So you're the malchus without the crown. That's what it means.
It means that you're taking it by force, not that you're actually appointed.
Right. Okay. So V'amru zal, back to Vayol Moshe. V'amru zal, Chazal say that V'ikva de Mashiach, before Mashiach comes, Hutzpah yiskei, the chutzpah will increase. V'lo yamru bazeh shir, they didn't say any limit to how much it will increase. El chutzpah misrabe v'chol yoim v'yoim, it's going to continually increase from day to day in the time before Mashiach. Im kain belav hachi yesh lohem malchus Yisrael al yidei chutzpah. These tzionim, even before they had a state, they had their chutzpah gave them a malchus, gave them power, because they can push people around with their chutzpah. Shehu koyach malchus lehistar al yirei Hashem. It gave them the power to push around and to boss around the yirei Hashem. Ela shehisigu gam kester melucha b'koyach hachutzpah. With this chutzpah, they achieved a medina which gave them even more power. And that medina in turn led to even more chutzpah.
Like Avshalom, who kicked David off his throne, and took his crown by force. And was his father you were talking with here.
Right. The koyach zeh mashach is kol hador. And that koyach, once the tzionim got their chutzpah and got their medina, that koyach pulled the rest of the generation. And chutzpah even became an English word because of the Zionists, right? It became
I don't know about
Hebrew.
Told the nash and shtick and schmooze.
Okay, but that's from Yiddish. But chutzpah is something that the Zionists brought in. K'masha kasev haramah mipano. The Ramah Mifano, the Menachem Azaria that we brought before, he says that Gam Bishar Melucha, he says by any kingdom, the Gemara says that that Kol Masharsa Rishayim, Moshe Makshav Al Davar Sheker Kol Masharsa Rishayim. Any king who's a Rasha, all his Masharsim, all his people, and not only the Masharsim, but even all the people in his kingdom are going to be Rishayim. And the Ramami Fano,
on the wicked king.
Right. Oh, so the Ramami Fano says it's not always true, but it's sometimes true. That it's usually true that the people get influenced by the king. The Chulial Magara Basre.
Wicked Christian kings for so many years.
Yeah, that's true. The Chulial Magara Basre. Everybody has some kind of influence from the king. They get influenced. Ad Shabam and they're saying Rabbim Boishnu Mikol Dor, and that's why in this generation people have been influenced by the Zionism. You see every day in the news, Zionists, Israelis, this, Israelis, that. It has an influence on you after a while. The cost of B'divrei Chaim al Moyadim, B'soif Sefer. Now he's going to say another aspect of our generation. First of all, the Hutzpah. Now the erev he's going to talk about. The Divrei Chaim on the Moyadim and the end of the Sefer, B'hashmata l'Parshas Vayakel. In the piece that was left out from Parshas Vayakel and it was printed at the end of the Sefer, Shediber Sham Harbe L'Hizar Shlo Yischaber Imo Erev Rav. The Divrei Chaim in his time, this is the 1870s, whatever it was.
Rav in his time.
Right, I don't know. Listen what he's going to say. That he spoke not to join up with Erev Rav. Because of the Emtza, and he writes there in the middle, V'zel Shoynoi. Kenira ba'alil. It's obviously clear to us. Shaharabanim ve'achasidim ve'abalibatim shebedor hema ba'avoneseinu harabim ruba meo ervav. He says that the Rabbanim, the Chasidim, and the Balabatim of his generation are mostly from the Ervav.
Well, you find in America, the masses of Jews who worked on Shabbos still considered from Jews.
Okay.
They were keeping that tens. They used to. They dialed that with the early Minyan.
Divrei Chaim is not talking about America here.
But just an example.
Okay.
There were big masses of Jews, who considered them from Jews, and they only, didn't look like them when they came home from work on Shabbos.
And many people, when they saw this Divrei Chaim, they were shocked. How could he write such a thing? Shiyatzu mipeh kadosh b'doiroi. How could a holy Divrei Chaim write in his generation? Shahaya malei Torah v'yira, generation that was full of Torah and full of Yir Shemaim. V'harba gedolim ukdoshim. How could he write such a thing? However, v'roisi achakach. Rebbe says, I saw later b'shar hapsukim lehar Rizal. In the Arizal Sefer, Shar Psukim, Parshas V'Eschanan, Shediber Sham Harba Meho Erev Rav, Shekibla Moshe. He speaks about the Erev Rav that Moshe accepted, V'Hoy Bozet Takala, V'Kosev Be'emtz Dvar, he writes there in the middle, V'Ato Roy Vador Mehem. And today, most of our time, generation is from them. So you see the Arizal saying in his time already that most people were Erev Rav then. V'Harei Shekosev Kein Gamal Doiram Shahari, V'Chaim Vital. All the way to Israel, even though these were born Jews, these people in the Reb Chaim Vital's time. The neshamas of those people came from the Erev Rav, like the Orachama, the Pirush on the Zohar explains. So if that's the case in the Arizal and the Divrei Chaim's times, what are we going to say about our times? In those times of Divrei Chaim, most Jews were Shomer Mitzvahs. The Mashakasa b'Yismach Moshe Parshas Tavoi. Yismach Moshe says it there. V'das ha'pnei Yeshua sha'achezkes kashrus. The pnei Yeshua that we mentioned earlier, I think Kuf Chav Hey, Kuf Chav Vav, we mentioned that in Pnei Yeshua and Gittin says that when Chazal say chezkes kashrus, people have a chezkes kashrus, that they started out good and then you assume they're good until proven otherwise. Yeah. That's talking who rak chazaka machmas roiv. Shachezkes kashrus sheba poiskim who rak chazaka machmas roiv. The chazaka because roiv of Yisrael are good. Yan sheroiv Yisrael kshem. El shahaya harbe shaloi hay kavanasam l'shamayim. So what do they mean by saying Erev Rav? They mean that inside, even though outwardly they looked good, but inside their kavanah was not l'shamayim karoi. Af shahaya kam gedolim ukdoshim ein mispar. Even though there was a generation full of tzaddikim and holy people. Amnam b'dor hazeh. But today, what are we going to say? Today, Bavanasein Rabbim af Bavanasein Rabbim shemiuta de miuta betachli samiyut. The Erlich Yidden are a very, very small minority. Ulai loy nishar af achuz echad mimispar b'nei Yisrael. It could be that it's not even 1% of the Jewish population of the world, she'iyu shomrei Torah mitzvahs. There are shomrei Torah mitzvahs. I'm going to get to the figures in a second. V'af bein eila hama'atim, even among those few who are hashomrei Torah mitzvahs kehergelam, they keep the Torah according to their habit, because they don't really understand it, what they're doing, but they just do it because they were brought up that way. Even among them, there are very few who really believe in all the Yud Gimel Ikrim properly and understand what they mean, and not what the Zionists take them to mean, the religious Zionists.
Or any other, of course, ideas.
And today, the erev Rav's groups movements are increasing. Let me just look at the figures now.
I just want to say that Rabbi
So I brought here Sliding to the Right by Samuel Heilman.
Who's this?
It's a book on sociology and Orthodox Jews in this generation. Modern Orthodox versus Haredi Orthodox. A very interesting book that analyzes the trends of the times. People are getting more from, Baruch Hashem. It used to be thought that the Orthodoxy was dying out in America. And that's really the time that the Rebbe was talking about. He's writing in 1959 when things were mamish at the bottom of the decline. Before the war, it started the decline, and then in America, it was continuing.
That was when Saturday just started as a weekend.
Right, and people were not Shomer Shabbos mostly in America. Right. It was mamish at the bottom, and then things started to turn around. And Baruch Hashem, today it's back up again. So take a look.
Maybe Saturday became a weekend. This was at the very beginning.
It's not just that. It's because the gadoly came to America after the war, and they established Hasidus and yeshivas, and they started to grow. It slowly took off. Yeah. So he says like this: that the National Jewish Population Survey, which I wasn't able to get the pages right now, but hopefully
for sure.
I'll have the pages. In 1970, the first time they did this, they found a total of 600,000 Orthodox Jews in the world, I think, or maybe it was only America. But it was, I think, in America, 600,000 Orthodox Jews, constituting 11% of American Jewry at the time. Now, it says here, realizing that the actual number did not tell the whole story, he added that a significant number, he did not say how many, since the surveys do not provide that information, were nominal in their commitment, and that those should probably be dropped from the count. So in other words, there were 11% who called themselves Orthodox, but he says that really that's because they called themselves Orthodox, but really they were not really so from. They were nominally from. Means they attended an Orthodox shul, maybe they did some things to call themselves Orthodox, but that's them they weren't. Maybe like you're saying, they went to work on Shabbos and they went to shul before work.
Yeah.
But the point is that these people were the older generation. They were nominally from, but they weren't really so from. But you counted them anyway. So in those 11%, you're counting all those people. Yeah. Now, if you look over here, there's a chart with the demographics, and it shows the breakdown: Orthodox, Conservative, Reform, others, total in 1970. And you see a tremendous difference between the immigrant generation, 25% were from, and the non-immigrant generation, which everybody included basically, 10%, or 11, rounds to 11. Now, if you look at the original, which I didn't bring in today, but I'm going to put it on page 3, the original says that in the National Jewish Population Survey, of the people under 30, only 4% were from. Uh-huh. So you're getting the idea that we're talking about, even in 1970, and this is 10 years after Vayol Moshe, we're talking about only about 4% of families that are raising their kids from. Uh-huh. And if these people are 4%, so their parents are only like 2% of the generation. So you're getting close to what the Rebbe is talking about here with 1%. Okay? And that was the difference. A lot of people were older generation people who were still from, but their kids were totally fry. That's the way it was back then. Now, the Kitos Erev Rav Misrabim V'Hochim, and it looks like the Erev Rav's groups are getting bigger. Umavur B'Zohar HaKadosh Breishis Sheyesh Hey Kitos BeErev Rav. The Erev Rav is not so simple. It's not all one thing. It's 5 different groups that it's made up of. Kol echad gerua mechaveira. Each group is worse than the other one. V'yesh bohem gam amalekim. There's some people who are the neshamas of Amalek who are mixed into the Erev Rav. V'ho'erev Rav shebedoreinu ein loy dimyan lo'erev Rav shebedores hakodmim. The Erev Rav of today is not like the Erev Rav of Divrei Chaim or the Arizal. It's much worse. Ki hema betachlis agreus. They're the worst possible. Miyarida hatachtoina. They're from the worst of the possible erev rabs. Haba terem bias Mashiach. Umatzav dor kazeh mashpia gam al manhigim. Since that's the matzav of this generation, that has an influence on the leaders. Haksher, even though the leaders are good. Utzrichim rachim Yishalayim leis not tell. We need Hashem's mercy to get saved from that.